podcast on the Boss Up Houston Network. Come get your questions answered. We'll see you then. And remember, lawyer up. Hello. Good evening. Happy Friday to everybody. We are here for our third episode. 1, 2, 3. It's 3 episodes we've done so far. You are joining us now for the Lawyer Up with Steve Okoraha podcast on the Boss Up Houston Network. Hope everything has been well. Hope everyone's going to stay safe, especially with the hurricane coming up. It may not hit us here in Houston, but for those that are in those areas, be sure to stay safe and be prepared, for this storm. For this third show, we have a lot in store for you. Of course, I have a special guest here with me. She's going to introduce herself in a second, but you may be asking, and for those that already know what this show is about, great. For those new on the show, what we try to do is we try to give you legal tips that can help your everyday needs. We try to empower you and help you put yourself in a better situation for just any everyday life task. It could be a lot of different things, wide range of things. I'm not going to talk about just one thing. I'm going to talk about several different things. So this episode today specifically is about wills. The title of the episode is called "Do the Will." So we have a lot to say about that. But before we get into that, I want to introduce to my right here, Bridget Smith Lawson. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I just wanted to give you an opportunity to bring you on the show and talk about such an important topic that we have here today. So just go ahead and let everybody know about your background and just make everybody more comfortable with you.
All right. Well, thank you, Steve, first for inviting me to the show. I'm happy to be here with you. I am Bridget Smith Lawson. I am the Democratic nominee for the Fort Bend County Attorney position. The County Attorney is kind of like the sister agency to the District Attorney. Without having to kind of go over the legal definition of the position, the County Attorney pretty much is the head of the civil legal support for all things county government. So it represents the county, whether suing or defending, provides legal advice to the commissioners and also the county judge. And by law, it is charged with representing 2 state agencies, and that's Child Protective Services and Adult Protective Services. So I am a 17-year licensed attorney, a 17-year public servant working for you right now. Currently, I am the managing attorney for the Department of Family and Protective Services, Office of General Counsel, and I supervise the Division of Government Regulatory Litigators, or attorneys that represent a governmental agency that's pretty much cover up to a 23 county area, but it also includes Fort Bend. So every day we are doing the heavy lifting and the heavy work of being on call 24/7, 365, but also representing a governmental agency, giving advice on a broad range of things from employment issues, whether it's dealing with issues of hiring or any types of performance maintenance things, contract issues that may come up. Also navigating the client group through the foster care system in terms of handling child welfare cases, adult protective services cases, and just all of the things that fall under the broad scope of representing a governmental agency. So I didn't start off with that. I started off in private practice, just like Steve, doing pretty much everything that comes in the door, pretty much. I mean, when you're a lawyer and you just pass the bar, you're tested on a lot of different subjects.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to be able to know all types of law, how they synthesize with each other, with the fact patterns that your clients bring in. So I've done everything from criminal law, family law, and that's child support, divorces, temporary orders, all of that stuff that falls under there. Child welfare as well, guardianship cases. I've been court appointed ad litem for real property cases and also probate matters. Okay. In addition to done some medical, pharmaceutical litigation, and on and on and on. So I can tell you 17 years is packed with a lot of practice of law, and I'm grateful for it. So again, Steve, thank you for letting me come on the show, and
Absolutely.
We hope you all enjoy and get as much information as you can to help benefit and bless your family.
Definitely. And as you can see, she has the skills to pay the bills. You know, she's been doing this for quite a while, doing it longer than myself. So I have a lot to learn from her. I used to actually work with the Harris County Attorney's Office.
Awesome.
You know, back in the day when I was a baby lawyer. I don't consider myself a baby, even though I'm kind of a baby, you know, now.
Okay.
8 years is getting
That's still a long
out of that.
time.
Yeah. It's you know, getting a little older. So, but yes, no, we're glad to have you, and we have a lot of things we want to discuss, and your wealth of knowledge is definitely going to help us. And we'd like for you to speak on a couple of things. So, with the topic, what we wanted to help everybody with is a very serious issue that really affects the minority community. It's something we don't pay particular attention to, and it ends up costing families a lot of money, and that is dying without a will. The probate process is very lengthy, it's very problematic. It can really tie up a lot of assets, a lot of resources, a lot of things that are going on. And also, if you're not very prepared, you may end up having to do a lot of things that are very strenuous in order to get the funds you need in order to, you know, have whatever bereavement ceremonies and transfer of property. It causes fights between family. It gets very messy. So, you know, I know that Halloween's right around the corner. So we're going to try not to scare you too much, but we're going to give you a couple of horror stories about what happens when you die without a will. So, but we're also going to teach you some things that can help you avoid a lot of these issues, and also things you can put in place while you're alive so that you can avoid some of these things, you know, dealing with, you know, powers of attorney and different things, and also give you some horror stories about that. What we want to do is we want to help you guys. We want to put you in the right place. We want to make sure that you're very prepared. So don't be afraid of thinking about, you know, your death or your family member's death. It's something that you need to be prepared for. So when we come back, we are going to dive right in and talk about it, so stay tuned.
Wanna be a boss? You're watching Boss Up Houston Network. It's Boss Up Houston, where we look up, stay up, and boss up.
All right. Welcome back. Hopefully it didn't take too long, but we said we're going to jump right in and start to talk to you about what happens when you die without a will. Now, property is characterized by two different categories. We have separate property and we have community property. Now, you only have to worry about community property if you're married, which a lot of you out there are. So community property is property that is in existence at the time and after you get married. Separate property is everything that you brought into the marriage beforehand. There are a lot of little nuances and things that separate property can transform into community property. Community property can also transform into separate property. But just to think of it as what you had before you got married is separate property, what you have during the marriage, and what you acquired during the marriage as community property. And also, two other different categories you need to remember is real property versus personal property. In probate, the two main categories of personal and real property. Real property is just land. It's a house, it's an apartment, it's a condo, it's a timeshare. Those are the things that you own that, you know, have great value, and those cause a lot of different disputes. And then, of course, your personal property is everything else you own: your car, your TV, your bank accounts, you know, things of that nature. So when you die, those things pass immediately to your beneficiaries that you put within the will. So if you have a will and you want Aunt Susie to have, you know, your your rose garden or something, or if you want your aunt, your Uncle Tom to have that truck that you have, you put that in a will, it goes to him, and it by the terms of the will, once you present it in court, then they go ahead and distribute it to him. If you don't have a will and there's no will present, then it goes to your heirs at law. And you're like, Steve, what are your heirs at law? Those are your kids, mostly your kids, but it's also your parents, your aunts and uncles, your cousins, if they have to go that far. So it's all the heirs of your body and what's related to you. So we have a couple of scenarios that I wanted to go through, and Bridget, feel free to chime in. So your separate property, if you are married, if you have real estate, your surviving spouse gets a third of that. Now, I know, Steve, you're like, well, I thought, if I'm married and, I brought this house that I had into the marriage that doesn't have, his or her name on it, that he or she is going to take all of it. Well, no. If you have kids, then your kids share equally in the remaining 2/3, and the surviving spouse takes 1/3. So, and then all your other property is the exact same way. That's with your separate property. Now, with your community property, with real estate, all of it goes to your, surviving spouse. With your other property, all of it as well goes to your surviving spouse. But there are little nuances here and there that I won't go into, but there's a lot of those things that people think that, okay, well, he or she's going to automatically get half, my kids are going to get half or a third. You really need to consult with an attorney to know exactly what those things are. And Bridget, have you seen a lot of those issues where you get people thinking that they're entitled to something when they're really not, or they end up making a will and maybe they think they're leaving stuff to somebody, which they thought they were doing the right way, but they ended up not doing it the right way?
Yes, I've definitely seen people have drafted wills and maybe they didn't put all of their estate in the will, and then you have items or property that's not discussed in the four corners of the will, which you have to get pretty much brought to the court for a decision on how it should be divvied out. So, and then also we know of scenarios where someone is married, they have children, they get divorced, and then they remarry, and then there's a new spouse. And how upon death of that spouse, the spouse that's left has maybe an unrealistic idea of what they should inherit when there are children outside of their marriage. So these are some complicated issues, and you would definitely need to ask an attorney to help you navigate this, because when you pass and there's no one to speak for you, and so it puts you into court to where the law and the judge helps to speak for how the property should be divvied up. So definitely I've seen those over the years.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I actually have a situation where something like that is occurring, and there is a current spouse and then there is a previous spouse, and the previous spouse is now trying to claim something within the current spouse's property. And the one that's still living is like, well, no, he's not the current husband, and he's trying to get life insurance, he's trying to get a 401k, he's trying to get everything. And the fact of the matter is, no one knows that person is sometimes they don't know, or they don't go and change their 401k or their life insurance to indicate that there's a new spouse. So you have to then deal with the agency in terms of trying to prove that, okay, this person is divorced from him, there's a new spouse, here's the marriage certificate, here's all of this. So it can get pretty complicated, and that's one of the things we just don't think about. We get into new relationships, we get into new jobs, and we don't think to maybe update things and try to make sure that things are clear so that these issues don't exist down the line. So
That's right.
But yeah, next thing, briefly, what I wanted to talk about was the time frame of a probate. Now, if you have a will it must be probated within 4 years after the decedent's death. So that means when you get that date and time stamp on the death certificate, you have 4 years from that date to probate the will. Now, Steve, you're saying, Steve, maybe it's year 5. Does that mean I can't probate the will? No, you can still do so. It just means that a lot of new facts and new issues may be presented that the court can consider. And it also may present different issues of conflict. But the courts like to consider a will that is left by the decedent to be probated within at least 4 years. So what does that mean? It means if you make a will, make sure that A, you have an attorney review it, B, you have several copies of it, and C, you have different people holding on to it in a safe deposit box. Have your attorney also hold a copy of it if you get an attorney to do one. It's not necessary, but highly recommended. So, and then in terms of the entire process of an actual probate, let's say you have the will, you're like, Steve, I'm ready to go to court. The entire probate process can be completed within 6 months. That's about an average time. Don't quote me on that. But you can expect to go on for about a year if the will can't be located or the will is contested. So if you have Aunt Judy that came way from Wisconsin and that heard that her brother died, and she wants to now lay claim to that house that you guys have been living in, well, she can, especially if you can't find that will. And anyone else that may have crossed paths with your lost loved one can do so as well. It's a free for all that you want to avoid as much as possible. So that is why we're here, is to tell you these things so that you are well prepared to kind of fight those things in the future. And of course, when you inherit some of these things, there are issues with property taxes you want to avoid, different debts on the estate that you want to avoid. So it's imperative that you contact an attorney to help you out with that. So, all right, we are going to pay some bills. We're going to take another short break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about things that you can put in place while you're alive to help you guys out. So we'll see you soon.
Devin, did you know Geico is now offering an extra 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies?
Okay.
That's 15% on top of what Geico could already save you. So what are you waiting for? DJ Khaled to be your motivational coach?
Yo, Devin, remember to brush in a circle motion. Thank you, DJ Khaled. Tiny circles, Devin. Do another one. Another one. Is this good? Put in that work, Devin. Don't give up.
Geico. Save an extra 15% when you switch by October 7th.
Breakfast at Auntie D's. Take one. That's all it's gonna take.
Bring it daddy's on the beat.
Wine, dime, killing time. Heard it through the grapevine. The type of you that like to get dime anytime. Wine, dime, killing time. Heard it through the grapevine. You the type of you that like to get dime anytime. Wine, dime, killing time. Heard it through the grapevine. You the type of you that like to get dime anytime. Gun, please sipper, Moet, Patron sipper. Do you the type of girl that like to pull down the zipper?
I like your shoes.
Etouffee, appetizer. After this, I'm digging your thighs. Real debonair's eye. Look in your eyes. You gotta smirk upon your
Go sit down, baby. Go sit
and
down.
I'm impressed with your waist, petite shape in your thigh. Compliment you on your booty and your hair and your booty. Hey.
Here you go, baby.
Wine, dine, killing time. Heard it through the grapevine. And you the type of dude that like to get down anytime. Comfort zone when you
Cut.
Breakfast.
Welcome back, everybody. We are back on the Lawyer Up with Steve podcast. I'm still here with Bridget. We are talking wills and probate and stuff that you need to learn and you need to put in place so that you can protect yourself and get yourself well prepared in the event of your death. Now, we're trying not to scare you again. It's Halloween around the corner, I know. But we're giving you some things to really help you out, so hopefully you're learning something. But now we're going to talk about things that you should do when you're alive in order to help protect yourself. And a couple of those tools are power of attorney, durable power of attorney, and a medical power of attorney. So if anything ever happens to you, maybe you get in a bad accident, God forbid, but things happen. If you're in the hospital, if you go into a coma, if you're gravely ill, just at home, there are certain things that you can put in place so that people can go ahead and take up the mantle and make decisions on your behalf. People that you trust, people that you say, okay, well, hey, if this happens, I want you to do A, B, C, and D, so that they can show that document to people and then they can go ahead and proceed and make decisions on your behalf. So, Bridget, I wanted to have you kind of go through the differences a little bit.
Sure.
And talk about the advantages and the disadvantages of each one, if you could.
All right. So everyone has pretty much heard of the term power of attorney, but some people don't understand the broad span of powers that you are essentially giving away to someone to act on your behalf. Just to kind of keep it simple, I'm just going to speak in two terms. You've got your medical power of attorney and your durable power of attorney. The medical power of attorney allows you to sign someone up to make decisions regarding your medical health. And that's essentially it. Without going through the whole nuts and bolts of every clause and paragraph of that document, for you as a layperson, just know that document pretty much gives someone to make decisions on your behalf regarding your health care, regarding just medical decisions for you. So obviously you would need someone that you trust, someone who is sound and reasonable, maybe, and I'll just say this, maybe not the favorite child, but the most reasonable child, the one who is the most responsible to make those decisions. In the same token, the statutory durable power of attorney is essentially the same thing, signing up and letting someone to make all of the financial decisions for you. It is a broad span of power that you are giving to someone. They do have a fiduciary duty, which means they have an ethical, legal, moral, just that moral compass inside of them to make decisions regarding those finances that's for the best of the principal and of the estate. But that doesn't happen all the time. I have personally seen cases where a durable power of attorney for your finances has been given to a child who has ran through a lifetime of income for an older adult. And at the point of passing, there is nothing left to basically divvy out, even if there's a will, because everything's been taken. Yeah. So when you have a durable power of attorney or a medical power of attorney, they are important to help make decisions for you in the event that you can't. Keep in mind, with medical science, we are living longer physically, but we have not caught up with a lot of capabilities medically to keep our minds and our cognitive function as robust and intact as our physical. So people are living longer rather, but they need more help with those things, with making decisions. They're great documents to have, but they can be dangerous if you put them in the wrong hands. So I would encourage anyone to get those power of attorney documents, but also consider closely and seriously who you are letting make those decisions, because sometimes even the best intention of you signing up someone to make those decisions on your behalf can backfire if it's placed in the hands of someone who's irresponsible. Sometimes there's also disputes between siblings. Well, mom made me the financial or the durable power of attorney. And the other siblings are like, well, how come she gets to write checks and see the money, and we think she's not handling the money right? And then all of those subtleties of conflict come up. So whenever you're making those decisions, I would tell anyone, have a family meeting. and explain to your children what you are doing and why you are doing it.
Yep.
Someone may not be, totally pleased when they walk out the room, but at least they can understand why mom made the decision. Yeah, you might be the favorite child, but you may not be the most, the most financially savvy.
Yeah.
So in short, those are the two documents that can help you right now in the event that you become incapacitated, to put people into place to make those decisions for you. Now, there are broader toolkits called those, estate planning kits, and those are just two documents in addition to the will that you would want to see in a comprehensive estate planning kit. And you don't have to have millions of dollars to do this. Most middle income folk, or even people who have even lesser means, whatever you have is what you have, and you want to make sure that it is managed appropriately. So think about getting those documents to kind of keep things in order.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And does one of the things in order to appoint someone to have power of attorney, does it have to be family members, or can it be your landlord? Can it be your teacher? Can it be the guy that runs the Circle K on the corner, Hopefully, if you know the guy at the Circle K very well and y'all been buddies, okay. Hey, think about it. But does it absolutely have to be family?
No, it doesn't have to be family members. Usually when it's not a family member, there's a question of why it isn't a family member.
Yep.
And that's why that family meeting, to have that open discussion, really helps to bring down some of the narrative that builds up around the decision. But you can appoint anyone that you trust to be the agent. When you sign a power of attorney, you are the principal and you are giving the duties over to an agent. So whoever you decide is a reasonable, sound person to make decisions on your behalf, you can allow that person to be your power of attorney. There's also instances where you can have more than one, but keep in mind, if you have two, there's a conflict, a decision, who gets to make one. And power of attorney documents are revocable at any time, too.
Yep.
So just know that if you write one and things aren't going that great, you see money going out of the bank to maybe restaurants instead of paying rent bills or whatever, you can go ahead and revoke it at any time and get your power back and take capture of your resources so that it's not further exploited.
Absolutely. Similar to a will, how, if you want to make changes,
Yes.
but, a will has to be a little bit more formalized. You want to make sure that you do a codicil. What's a codicil? Well, you can talk to your attorney about that. But power of attorney is a lot more flexible because you can instantly make the change. You can instantly redraft it and everything. So that's something that should be pretty powerful to everybody, and then let you know that, okay, hey, if something happens to me that I can make changes and instantly revoke that other power of attorney so that I can put the person that I want to in place and replace the person that may not be doing so well instantly in order to do that. So going on a little bit with that, with power of attorneys and medical power of attorneys, I want to talk a little bit about elder abuse. It's a big problem, especially in nursing homes, and of course, we have home health care, people coming and caring for a lot of our family and loved ones. So what are some of the things that you experience, or have you experienced in your practice with that, and how does a county attorney usually get involved in those types of cases?
Okay, well, sure. So Adult Protective Services is charged legally with investigating abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation of the aged and disabled population. So when you are aged or disabled and you have someone who is a close caregiver or family member or someone that's got an ongoing contact with you, if they are abusing you physically or even emotionally or neglecting you, maybe your daughter is living in your home and instead of paying the rent, she's going shopping and the lights get cut off, or there's no food. Those are issues of physical neglect. Maybe you have a caregiver who's not giving you your medication regularly. That's medical neglect. So those are issues of neglect. Financial exploitation. Maybe you have a checking account and you have given maybe one of your kids the ability to go and use your debit card to pay for groceries. And instead, they go and buy clothes and shoes. That's financial exploitation, taking your money and using it in a means that you did not allow or intend for them to do.
Yeah.
Now keep in mind, when you give someone a financial power of attorney document, you give them a broad span to take your money and spend it in certain different ways, unless you make sure that that power of attorney document is clearly delineated as to what restrictions and what free access they have. And that also means that you should be conferring with a lawyer too, to kind of get you guided in what you're doing on that power of attorney. But elder abuse is growing because we have a growing aging population. Financial exploitation is one of the growing areas of crime, unfortunately. We hear about our elders getting those phone calls to send money to this country and whatnot, and also just having that grandchild that may come in and have their grandmother to buy them a spanking red new Porsche, and grandmother doesn't even have money to take care of her stuff, but she's doing it out of a love or endearment. So, or
they put stuff in grandma's credit.
That's true. Using your credit, exactly, and ruining your credit. So we have to all of us need to be aware of elder abuse, because prayerfully, hopefully one day we will be older in our years. But we want to make sure that whoever is aging, that they're aging with integrity, they're aging with respect, and that the people around them are not doing things to mishandle them. So the power of attorney documents, again, can help protect our older adults from abuse and neglect, but it also, if it's in the wrong hands, can result in abuse and neglect. So we want to make sure and to protect our elder adults. But when we see things that indicate that they're not being protected, you can call and file a report so that Adult Protective Services can come in and see what is the abuse, the physical abuse or maybe emotional abuse that's going on. Also, if there's financial exploitation, be able to track banking records to see where is the money going. If there's neglect, counting the pills to see, okay, well, this was her prescription. She got it on October the 1st. She should have so many pills left. Where are all of her pills? So all of those things that the Adult Protective Services agency is able to look in to help protect. And specifically in Harris County, I can give examples of where things went terribly wrong and someone was not protected, and Adult Protective Services, through their legal representative, the county attorney, had to file what's called an emergency removal, which is basically a court order to get someone removed from their home and bring them to a place of safety. I think on the news 2 weeks ago, there was a big care home that was cracked down, and with several people who were in that home, and they removed quite a few of them by a court order, and that all works in conjunction with Adult Protective Services, also the Department of Aging and Disability Services, etc. So again, all of this kind of ties in. You have to make plans to have your will for when you die, but before you get there, making sure you have those legal documents to protect you before the point of death, to make sure that you're aging in place, aging with integrity, and just basically able to live your life with freedom and the ability to make decisions as best you can, and in the event that you can't, have someone to step in to protect you. So
absolutely, and it works a lot similar to CPS, in terms of how the agency steps in and cracks down on whatever's going on and does emergency removals. I used to do a lot of that. I used to work in the Child Protective Division of the Harris County Attorney's Office. So I'm familiar with all of those things, and just knowing that there's an agency that does the same thing for our elders is, if you need it, it's good, but you want to make sure you put those things in place to protect your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your aunt, your uncle, your older family friend, whoever it is that may be not able to always protect themselves and take care of themselves. You want to make sure that you put those things in place so that they can get the right care that they need. So hopefully you've learned a lot about that, and hopefully you're able to put those things in place so that you can save them, put them in a better place, and help take care of them. That's why we're giving you this information. So, one more short commercial break. We will be right back. We're going to talk to you a little bit of, give you a little bit of tips about your will, and also Bridget's going to talk about her campaign thus far, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
off of everything that I heard today, I definitely think we can lawyer you up today. Tune into the Lawyer Up with Steve podcast on the Boss Up Houston Network. Come get your questions answered. We'll see you then. And remember, Lawyer Up. All right, welcome back. This is Lawyer Up with Steve. I'm still here with Bridget. We're having a good time giving you guys some really helpful information. We hope you guys are learning some things about making a will. Hope we haven't scared you. Hope it's not that scary. Ooh, Halloween and everything. But we want to make sure that you have the right things in place for when you die. Dying is hard to talk about, but we have to. It's just one of those things that we have to make sure that we're prepared for. So, just some last tips about a will. You, like I said before, and I mentioned briefly, you do not have to have an attorney to draft a will. That's called a holographic will. It's a fancy word for just saying it's a handwritten will. You can write out, I bequeath my full estate and belongings to Susie. Sign it, notarize it. I would definitely recommend you do that, and then that's a will. However, if you want it to be a lot more structured, have a lot of the ins and outs taken care of, a lot of the legal stuff in there to make sure that the right type of things go to the right people, then you want to get a typewritten will. And definitely contact your attorney. Contact me. I draft wills as well. Contact Bridget as well if she has the time. I know she's gonna be pretty busy though. Yes. So you might want to call me then. But all right, and then on top of that, the most important thing is getting it executed. Now, what is that? Your will is valid as it is written, but you also want to make sure that you talk to an attorney to do a will execution ceremony. And what does that comprise of? It's very simply the attorney just reads a couple of statements to you, make sure that you are lucid, you're comprehending everything, because they want to attest in front of two witnesses and a notary that what is contained within this will is what is your wishes to be done at the event of your death. So you want to make sure you conduct that. It just makes it stronger, makes it go through court a lot quicker. So definitely get your will executed. And of course, remember the difference between real property, personal property. Personal property is your car, your boat, your PS4, your Xbox, whatever you have. Real property is land, your house, your apartment, your condo, and anything like that. So there are different nuances with how you distribute those things. So make sure you contact an attorney in order to get those things divvied up the right way. So. And now I want to let Bridget talk a little bit about her campaign. As she stated, she is running for Fort Bend County Attorney, and we wish her all the luck in the world. We're going to be following her campaign this November, so just let everybody know kind of what's going on, and when are we voting, when are we doing this, and what's going on.
Sure. So, but before I do that, I want to just add one more point regarding power of attorney documents. To all of the viewers, I want you to understand the power of attorney documents must be signed before the principal, the person who's signing it, loses capacity. If you have a relative who's already lost capacity, say they've had a stroke or something, that is not the time to have them to sign those documents. They have to be able to sign those documents, know and understand, be lucid to make those decisions prior to the loss of capacity. So I just want to make sure that everybody's clear on that. In addition, if you have any questions regarding giving your property away, whether or making plans for death, or even making plans for a nursing home, for longer incapacitated states and being placed into those nursing facilities or whatnot, be sure to contact a lawyer and talk with them about that, because there are different nuances in the law that can affect your descendants' ability to inherit. Prime example, the Medicaid Estate Recovery Program is called MERP. You can try to give away a home to be able to income and resource qualify for a nursing home, and the state can come back and recapture that after you die. So there's so much to talk about under this umbrella. Of course, I've had years of experience doing that.
Yeah.
But just know, contact a great lawyer if you are in question. Some things you can do by yourself, but some things, honestly, you really need a legal person, a lawyer to help you with, like Steve Coral. So, switching gears, I'm Bridget Smith Lawson again, your Democratic nominee for the county attorney position. Our campaign has been going wonderfully. I've been on the campaign trail for a year and 8 months, while working full time, while being a mom, while balancing all of those things in, and the demands of being at several places at the same time. But we are encouraged. Our message has been sound. Real experience, which I have, dedication to public service. I've given the majority of my professional career serving Texans, working for you, and also proven leadership ability. I've already managed lawyers. I'm doing that now, and also have managed a small law practice myself, and also working in the community, holding different leadership roles. So we are here to serve right now, and I want to make sure that when I'm elected, that I bring to that office a heart of serving the community, not just a title holder. One thing we lose in public service is that when we engage with the public, everyone is almost like a mini boss. When I talk to voters about getting their vote, I consider it a job interview, because your vote is essentially you saying, I want to hire her. So, again, the campaign is going great, and I hope and humbly ask for your vote so that I can become the next county attorney. Early voting begins Tuesday, October the 13th through Friday, October the 30th, with the election day being Tuesday, November 3rd. Down the ballot, every candidate, we have an awesome slate of blooming candidates that I want you all to seriously consider and vote for. There's so many ways that you can educate yourself on the candidates prior to going to the ballot. We have, I know on my page, my Facebook page, Bridget Smith Lawson, I have the full composite card. You can look at each and every last one of us, pick those names out, save it to your phone, and bring it to the polls, and just select each and every last one of us. We're here to serve. We've been out in the community for months now at so many PPE drives, so many food giveaways, because we want to serve you. Please elect Bridget Smith Lawson as your next county attorney. Steve?
Absolutely, and we thank you so much for all that you do for the community. I've definitely had the pleasure of running my own campaign along with her. Her election was this year, mine was last year, so that's how we got to know each other. So it's very strenuous, but I know that you're doing a lot for the community, and we really wish you a lot of luck once you get into office. But please, 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 everybody, make sure you early vote. Do not wait until election day. In the era of COVID, there's going to be a lot of issues with voting, so you want to make sure that you make your voice heard early. Remember, October 13th is when early voting starts. Look up your nearest polling location. Make sure you get educated on the candidates. We have a lot of good candidates. Don't just focus on the presidency. It's not just Donald Trump and Joe Biden. There's a lot of other great candidates that are in your community that make decisions that affect you directly. So make sure you learn about who those are. And like she said, there is a composite card on her page. There's also, information you can find on different websites about the candidates. You can take something with you into the polling booth to remind yourself of who you want to vote for. Don't let anybody else tell you that you can't. I've seen it, so it will happen. There's a lot of voter obstruction going on, so just make sure that if you don't remember all those names, and there's going to be a lot of names on the ballot, make sure that you say, okay, these are the people I want to vote for, have it with you, and then make your selections on the ballot. So, before we wrap up, I want to make sure I give you my contact information. As usual, you can give me a call directly if you want to talk about anything you've heard on this show, anything you've heard on previous shows, anything legal that you want to talk about, politics. Hey, if you just want to tell me about what the Astros are doing, they're doing really good, we can talk about that. So you can call me at 833-529-9748. And you can also email me at contact@goodmanmcgill.com. My website is www.goodmanmcgill.com, and you can also find my page on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So you have everything now to connect with me. There's no excuse if you don't. I mean, you can just watch this again and get that information, but it will be put on this episode as well. It'll also be put in the comments. And also, if you need any more information, I have these pamphlets that say to will or not to will. Give me a call, and a lot of great information that I went through today is in this, and I have these for free. You do not have to pay for it at all. These come from the State Bar, and they're given to many lawyers in order to distribute out to the public for their information. So just remember, when life gets you down, remember to lawyer up. So I will see you guys next week with our next great topic. Thank you again, Bridget, for joining us. And we wish you a lot of luck in your election.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.